Good morning. Once again, my name is Sir Ronnie P. Johan, your professor for this subject, Research and Statistics. Okay, so as you begin your master's program, research will play a crucial role in your independent inquiry, knowledge creation, and contributions to your field. So this course aims provide you with essential skills for conducting robust research and effectively analyzing data using statistical methods. So in today's sessions, we will explore the nature of research, the research process, and introduce the core statistical concepts relevant to your studies. So whether you have a strong background in statistics or not, we will start naman from the basics, ensuring everyone grasps key concepts throughout the semester. So we will blend the theory with practical applications through activities and assignments. Remember, this is a collaborative learning, no? So feel free to ask questions, participate in discussions, and share your experiences, no? So by the end of this course, uh, you will be prepared, to formulate research questions, choose appropriate methodologies, apply statistical techniques, and critically evaluate research findings. Okay, so let's dive into this exciting world together. But before that, do you have any questions? So if none, let us continue. Okay, so let us start this session discussing the objectives, no? So this morning, we will establish a strong foundation in research in statistics, by exploring the following key objectives. Okay, now, the first one is to define methods of research. So we will explore various approaches researchers use to gather information and data, such as yung surveys, experiments, and case studies. The second one is to describe the purpose of research. So at this point in time, so we will dig into the different reasons why research is conducted, such as discovering new knowledge, solving problems, and informed decision making. The third objective is to illustrate the characteristics of good research. We will identify naman the trademarks of strong research including yung objectivity, reliability, validity, and ethical considerations. The fourth one is to describe the difference between research and problem solving. So we will differentiate between the focused approach of problem solving and the broader explorations of research. So para ba sa inyo, may pagkakaiba ba ang research at ang problem solving? So we're going to find out. And the last one is to define the kinds and classification of research. We will discussing the various types of research, the methodologies used across different disciplines, such as yung tinatawag nating quantitative, qualitative, and mixed methods. Okay, everyone, let's begin by defining what research is all about. So by definition, Research is the careful consideration of study regarding a particular concern or research problem using scientific methods. No? It involves both inductive and deductive approaches. So, what does it mean? No? So, research daw can be simply described, no, as the systematic inquiry that involves the collection, analysis, and interpretation of data to answer a question or solve a problem. No, it is not just aimlessly gathering information, no, but it is a meticulous process that follows a structured approach. Let's say, for example, no, imagine you're trying to understand a complex puzzle. Research provides a framework or outline to not only gather the pieces, no, but also analyze how they fit together to form the complete picture. So, in other words, no, research is like trying to solve a problem or mystery or answering a vital question in a systematic way. No, it is not just about random searching, but a planned and organized investigation. So there are two main ways researchers approach a problem. Unang-una nga, yung tinatawag nating inductive research. And the other approach is yung deductive research. Okay, now, let us discuss the methods of research, no? Gaya ng sinabi ko kanina, the first one is inductive methods. So, inductive methods analyze, observe events. They are commonly associated with qualitative research where researchers explore and describe phenomena without necessarily aiming for conclusive results. So, in other words daw, no? So, yung inductive methods daw are normally used, no, in qualitative research, no? Sa papaano to analyze, observe events and phenomena. So, instead of starting with specific hypothesis or theory, researchers gather data, no? And then they will identify the patterns, yung themes, and relationships within that data. So, when researchers use inductive methods, they look at real-life events, no? And try to understand them, no? So, instead of having a specific idea or theory in mind, they collect, no, a lot of informations and look for patterns in connections in that information, no? It is like solving a puzzle without knowing what the final picture will be. So, they focus on describing and exploring what they find rather than trying to prove something right or wrong. No? Let's say for example, no, a researcher wants to understand how people cope with stress in their everyday lives. No? They might use inductive methods in qualitative research to explore this topic. So, ano gagawin ng researcher? So, the researcher would gather data sa papanong paraan by conducting interviews or observations with a group of individual. So, instead of starting uh, with a specific hypothesis or theory, yung researcher, they would listen, no, to what each person has to say. And they make notes about their experiences, their behaviors, and how they cope, yung tinatawag natin coping strategies, no? They might also look, no, for common themes or patterns that will transpire from this interview. So, through this process, the researcher may discover that many people use activities like yung exercise, meditation, or spending time with loved ones to manage stress. No? They might also find out that some individuals rely pala on created outlets like painting or writing to cope stress. No? So these patterns in teams would be the results, no, of the inductive analysis. So by using inductive methods, the researcher, no, gains a deeper understanding of how people cope with stress, no, without limiting themselves to preconceived notion or theories, no. It allows, no, for a more exploratory and descriptive approach, providing rich insights into the topic. Okay, let us proceed now with the next topic, which is the purpose of research. The first one is exploratory research. No, exploratory research is the first research to be conducted around a problem that has not yet been clearly defined. No, exploration research therefore aims to gain a better understanding of the exact nature of the problem and not to provide a conclusive answer to the problem itself. So, what do we mean by exploratory research? No, in the context of teaching, no, exploratory research can be used, no, to explore new areas or topics that have not been extensively studied before. No, let's say for example, no, a teacher wants, no, to understand the reasons behind the declining interest in reading among middle school students. No, so they decide, no, to conduct exploratory research to gain, no, to gain a better understanding of the problem. So ano gagawin nila? They might start, no, by interviewing a small group of students, parents, and teachers to gather their perspective on reading habits and preferences. They might also observe classroom activities and collect data on the availability of reading materials in the school. No? So, through this exploratory research, no, the teacher aims to gather insights into the factors that contribute to the declining interest in reading. No? So, they may uncover reasons such as the influence of technology, uh, lack of engaging reading materials, or competitive interest among students. No? So the findings from this exploratory research makakatulong, no, doon sa teacher to identify yung key areas to focus on and guide further in-depth research or intervention. So in short, no, uh, exploratory research is like the first step, no, in understanding a problem that has not been fully defined yet, no. So it helps, no, to gather initial insights in informations to guide further research or interventions in the future, no. The next one is what we call descriptive research. No? It is a type of research that aims to provide a detailed descriptions of a problem or phenomenon. No? It focuses on observing and describing the characteristics and behaviors of a specific population or situations. Descriptive research answers questions about how and what, but not necessarily about why, no? So, in the context of teaching pa rin, uh, descriptive research can be used to gather information about various aspects of education. Let's say, for example, no, a teacher researcher wants to understand the study habits of high school students. So, ano gagawin nila? They decide to conduct a descriptive research study to gather informations about how students study and what study techniques they use. No? The researcher might distribute questionnaire to a sample of high school students, asking them about their study routines, yung preferred study environments nila, and yung strategies nila for retaining information. So, through this descriptive research, no, uh, the researcher aimed to describe the study habits of high school students. No? They may find out that most students daw maybe prefer to study in quiet environments. No? Yung iba naman, use flashcards for memorizations and meron din naman, they allocate specific time slots for studying. No? The findings from this descriptive research will provide a comprehensive picture of how students approach their studies. However, itong descriptive research alone may not provide insight into the reasons behind these study habits. Kasi it focuses on describing the characteristics in behaviors without delving into the underlying reasons or motivations. So, to understand the why behind these study habits, further research using other research methods such as qualitative or experimental research may be necessary. So, in summary, itong descriptive research aims to provide lang a detailed descriptions of a phenomenon or problem. Nakapokus lang ito dun sa how and what aspect, providing valuable information about characteristics and behavior. Pero it does not examine yung why, no? Yung underlying reasons behind these observations. Uh, the last one is what we call explanatory research. So, explanatory research also referred to us as causal research, no? It is conducted to determine how variables interact. For example, no? To identify the cause and effect relationship, uh, explanatory research deals with the why of research question and is therefore often based on experiments. Let's say, for example, in the context of teaching pa rin, no? Explanatory research ay pwedeng gamitin to investigate the impact of certain teaching methods on student learning outcomes, no? Example, let's say a teacher researcher wants to understand the effectiveness of a new teaching strategy in improving students' math skills, no? So, ang ginawa nila, they decide to conduct an explanatory research study using experimental design. So, they divide a group of students into two groups. An experimental group that receives the new treating strategy and a control group that follows naman the traditional teaching methods. The researchers then measures the math skills of both groups before and after the intervention. And by comparing the performance of the two groups, the researcher can determine whether the new teaching strategy has a causal effect on improving math skills. So, through this explanatory research, the researchers aims to identify yung cause and effect relationship between the teaching strategy and the student learning outcomes. So the findings from this study can provide evidence, no, to support or reject the effectiveness of the new teaching strategy. Explanatory research kasi is all about understanding why things happen the way they do. So, it goes beyond, no, just describing relationship between things and try to figure out the reasons and mechanism behind those relationships. So, explanatory research is all about answering the why questions, no? And finding out the underlying reasons behind observed phenomena. So, it focuses, no, on determining the cause and effect relationship sa papanong paraan by conducting experiment and gaining insights into the reasons behind research questions. Okay, so our next topic is all about the characteristic of a good research, no? Uh, Good research kasi typically possess the following characteristics. Number one, validity. No, so good research daw ensures that the methods used to collect data accurately measure what they are intended to measure. So it strives to provide accurate and reliable research, no? Okay. So validity in research is like making sure that the methods used to collect data is actually measure what they supposed to measure, no? It's about making sure that the information gathered is accurate and gives reliable research. Let's say for example, no, imagine you are baking a cake and uh, you want to measure the ingredients correctly. So, if you use a measuring cup that is labeled incorrectly, so ano mangyayari? So, you might end up with a cake that doesn't turn out right, di ba? So, validity in research is like using the right measuring cup to get accurate measurements. So, in research daw, validity, no, means that the methods used to collect data are trustworthy and give you or give us the right information. So, it is important to use methods that are appropriate for the research questions and to make sure, no, that the data collected is reliable. For example, uh, if you want to measure how people how happy people are, you need to use questions or methods that actually capture people people's happiness accurately. If the questions are confusing or do not really measure happiness, what will happen to the results? The results may not be valid, no? So, ensuring validity means using reliable method, asking the right questions, and making sure that the data collected truly represents what you want to measure. Okay? Did you get it? Okay. The next one is reliability. Good research produces consistent and replicable research. If the study were conducted again using the same methods, it would yield similar findings. No? Reliability in research is like getting consistent and similar results when we do something again. No? It's about making sure that if we repeat a study using the same methods, we would get same pa din, similar findings. No? Okay. Let's think about playing a game of darts. No? Alam niyo ba yung darts? Yung mayroong parang hinagis na dart, no? Yung parang maano niya, tumutusok, no? So if you're going to throw the darts in the same way multiple times, what do you expect? So you would expect the darts to land in a similar spot each time. Siyempre, kung same stroke, same yung ginagamit mo, same din yung lakas, so maaari, no, na doon at doon pa rin tatama, ano? Kung ang una mong ginawa sa bullseye, ganon ang paraan ng paggangis mo, ganon kalakas, ibig sabihin, no, laging sa bullseye pupunta yon yung mga hinahagis mong dart, no? So that's reliability in research, no? Yung tinatawag natin getting consistent results when we repeat the study. So, in research, no, ang ibig sabihin ng reliability, the methods used and the data collected are consistent and dependable, no? Consistent and dependable. It ensures that if someone else were to do the same study using the same methods, they would get similar results. Okay, another example. Imagine a study that measures, let's say for example, people's height. If the study is reliable, it means that if we measure the same person multiple times, kahit pa ulit-ulitin mo pa rin yan, we would get similar height measurement each time. No? Kung same na tao at same na measurement yung ginagamit natin. Eh kung nga iba yung measurement na ginamit natin, of course, ano kalalabasan? Iba yung results. So, having reliable results is important, no? Because ang ibig sabihin nito, yung findings are not just due to chance or random factors, hindi pa tsamba-tsamba. Ano, it gives confidence that the results are consistent and can be trusted. The third one is yung objectivity. So, good research is unbiased and free from personal opinions or biases of the researcher. It relies on evidence and facts rather than subjective beliefs. No? Okay, now, yung objectivity and research is like being fair and unbiased. Ano ibig sabihin? It means that the researcher doesn't let their personal opinions or biases to influence the study. Instead, they rely on evidence and facts to draw conclusions. Let's think of it as we watching a sport game, no? As a referee, no? The referee needs to make fair decisions, di ba? based on what actually happens on the field, not their personal preferences. No? So, hindi ibig sabihin, halimbawa, naglalaban ng Ginebra and San Miguel. Dahil favorite mo yung Ginebra. So, yung pito mo o yung tawag mo ay maka-Ginebra. No? Let's say, for example, no, si Sir Aga, nagre-referee, may laban ng Imus Pilot versus Cayetano. Ay dahil si Sir Aga ay galing sa ay taga-Imus Pilot, siyempre ang tawag niya ay pabor lagi sa Imus Pilot. So, walang objectivity doon, no? So, like in research, no? So, yung objectivity daw, it's about looking at the facts and evidence without letting personal beliefs or preferences get in the way. So, sinasantabi muna yon. So, you're not being objective kapag mayroon kang pinapanigan, no? So, in research, objectivity means that the research tries to be neutral and fair, no? They do not let their personal feelings or opinions influence the way they collect or interpret data. Instead, saan sila nagre-rely? They rely on evidence-based information and facts to draw conclusions. No? For example, if a researcher is studying the effects of a new drug, they need to objectively observe and analyze the data. They should not rely their personal views or hopes about the drug affect their interpretations of the results. So, maintaining objectivity sa research ay napaka-importante, no? Because it helps, no, to ensure that research findings are reliable and credible. So, by relying doon sa evidence and facts rather doon sa personal beliefs, so the researchers can make no more accurate and unbiased conclusions. The fourth one is transparency. Good research is transparent in its methodology, data collections, and analysis. It allows others to understand and replicate the study, ensuring the integrity of the research process. No? Okay, now, transparency in research is like being uh, open, no? And clear about how the study was done. Ano ibig sabihin nito? It means sharing information about the method used to collect data, how the data was analyzed, and how the conclusions were reached. This allow others, no, to understand and replicate the study if they want to. Let's just think of it as following a recipe. So when you are following a recipe to make a dish, di ba, you need a clear instructions and a list of ingredients. Uh, Transparency in research is similar, no? It's about providing clear clear information and instructions so that the others can understand and follow the study. Transparency in research is very important, no? Because it ensures the integrity and trustworthiness of the research process, no? So when researchers are transparent, others can assess, no, the quality of the study. Maaari nilang replicate ito to see if they can get similar results and build upon the findings. Uh, Another example, no? If a researcher publishes a study on the effects of a new teaching methods, so they should provide clear information about how the study was conducted, ano yung data na kinolekta, and how they analyze the results. Bakit? No? Kasi this allow other educators or researchers to understand and potentially replicate the study in their own classrooms. Okay, next is the fifth one is relevance. No, good research focuses on addressing important and relevant questions or problems. It contributes to existing knowledge and has practical implications for the field or society. Okay now, no? Relevance in research is like studying things that are important and meaningful, no? Ano ibig sabihin nito? It means focusing on questions or problems that matter and have practical implications for the field or society. Okay. Let us think of it as, let's say, for example, choosing a book to read, no? So, you want to pick something that interests you, di ba? And is relevant to your life or the world around you. So, relevance in research is similar is is similar, no? Kasi it is about studying topics or issues that are important and uh, have an impact, no? Kasi when we say relevance and research, uh, it means that we studying questions or problems that are meaningful at syempre merong practical implications sa atin, no? It focuses on addressing the issues that can make a difference in the field of the study or have an impact on society. Let's say, for example, uh, if a researcher is studying the effects of climate change on ecosystem, of course, di ba? They are addressing an important, relevant topic. So, yung research nila can contribute to our understanding of how climate change and affects the environment, and makakatulong ito ah, para magkaroon ng informations at magkaroon ng efforts to mitigate its impact, no? So in other words, uh, relevance in research is very important dahil, no, it ensures na yung findings and knowledge na ma-generate ay mayroong tinatawag ng real world significance. Uh, it helps researchers focus on questions that matter, no? And can lead to practical applications, yung policy changes, or improvements in various fields. Okay. Next is number 6, no? Ethical considerations. Good research follows ethical guidelines and protects the rights and welfare of participants. No, it ensures informed consent, confidentiality, and fairness in data collection and analysis. Okay, now, so ethical considerations in research is like following a set of rules to ensure that the right and well-being of the participants are protected. Uh, it involves treating participants fairly, keeping their information confidential, and getting their permission to participate. Let us think of it as a playing a game with rules. No, the rules ensure that everyone is treated fairly and that their safety is protected. Ethical consideration in research are similar. No, they are a set of rules that the researchers follow to protect the rights and well-being of the people involved in the study. Researchers also ensure confidentiality, meaning that any personal or sensitive information shared by participant is kept private, no, and only used for the purposes of the study. So this helps protect the privacy and confidentiality of the participants. Additionally, uh, ethical considerations mean that the researchers treat participants fairly and without discrimination. So they ensure the study is conducted in a way that is fair and unbiased without favoring any particular group. No? uh, Following ethical guidelines is very important in research, no? Because it ensures that the research is conducted in an ethical and responsible manner, no? Kasi it protects the rights, the privacy, and well-being of participants and maintains, the integrity of the research process. Okay? The next one is clear communications. No? Good research is effectively communicated to others through clear and concise writing, presentations, or other means. It allows others to understand the research findings in implications. No? Okay. So, clear communication in research is like naman explaining things in a way that everyone can understand. It means that presenting research findings and implications in a clear and straightforward manner so that the others can easily understand and make sense of them. No? Let us think of it as a telling story to a wide audience. So you want to use a simple language and provide clear explanation so that everyone can follow along and understand what you are saying. So that is clear communication in research. It's about presenting presenting information in a way that is easy to understand for everyone, no? So in research now, clear communication means effectively sharing the findings and implication of study through writing, presentations, or other means. It involves using clear and concise language, avoiding jargon or technical terms that might confuse people, no? So, by communicating research findings clearly, the researcher allow others, to understand what the study is all about, paano na-discover, and what it means for the field or society. So nakakatulong ito para ma-ensure that the research is accessible to a wide range of people, not just expert in the field. Let's say for example, uh, if a researcher discover a new treatment for a disease, they need to communicate their findings in a way that the doctors, the patients, and policy makers can understand. No? Uh, Clear communications allows everyone involved to learn about the new treatment and its potential benefits. So napaka-importante ng clear communications, no? Because it allows, no, research to have a broader impacts. Kasi no, when findings are presented clearly, they can be used to inform decisions, guides policies, or inspire further research. Okay, number 8, systematic approach. Good research follows a structured and systematic process, including including clear research objectives, appropriate data collection methods, and rigorous analysis techniques. A systematic approach in research is like following a step-by-step process to ensure that the study is well organized and reliable. It means having clear goals and using appropriate methods to collect data and analyzing the data carefully. No? Let us think of it as a following a recipe to bake a cake. So you have a set of instructions that you have follow in a specific order to ensure that the cake turns out deliciously. No? A systematic approach in research ay parang ganon, no? It is about following a structured process to ensure that the study is well planned and yung results are reliable. Kasi in research, a systematic approach means having a clear objective or goals. It involves defining what you want to achieve in your study and what questions you want to answer. When we say systematic approach in research, it means that we selecting appropriate methods to collect data. This could involve surveys, interviews, experiments, or observations. The methods chosen should match the research objectives and provide reliable data. Then, once the data is collected, a systematic approach involves, no? Ito yung meron ng analyzing the data carefully using rigorous techniques, no? This help to make sense, no, of the informations and draw meaningful conclusions, no? So by following a systematic approach, the researchers can ensure, no, that their study is well organized, reliable, and trustworthy. Makakatulong ito, no, to minimize yung bias, yung makaka-ensure yung consistency, and make sure that the study is conducted in a structured and rigorous manner. Number 9, critical thinking. Good research involves critical thinking and logical reasoning. It evaluates evidence, considers alternative explanations, and draws well-supported conclusions. Critical thinking in research is like being a detective or a problem solver, no? It involves carefully evaluating evidence, considering different possibilities, and drawing conclusion based on logical reasoning. No, let us think of it again as a solving puzzle. When you're trying to solve a puzzle, anong ginagawa mo, di ba? You carefully look at the pieces. You consider different ways they could fit together and use logical thinking to find the best solutions, no? So ganun ang critical thinking in research. It's about carefully examining the evidence, considering different explanations, and drawing well-supported conclusions. So in research, critical thinking means being open-minded and questioning, no? It involves looking at the evidence objectively, considering different perspectives, and evaluating the strengths and weaknesses of different arguments, no? Let's say, for example, uh, if a researcher conducts on the study on the effects of exercise on mental health, no, they would critically examine the data they collected, no, they would consider alternative explanations for the results, such as the other factors that might influence mental health, no. So by carefully evaluating the evidence and considering the different possibilities, they can draw well-supported conclusions. So, critical thinking in research is very important, no? Because it helps researchers avoid biases pa rin, no? Make informed decisions and ensure the validity of their findings, no? It allows, no, researchers to make logical connections, identify potential limitations, and contribute to the advancements of knowledge in their field. And the last one is contribution to knowledge, no? Good research contributes to the existing body of knowledge in the field. It generates new insight, theories of practical applications that advance understanding and address gaps in knowledge. Okay. So, contribution to knowledge in research is like uh, adding puzzle pieces to a bigger picture. So what does it mean? It means that good research helps expand our understanding of a particular field by providing a new insight, theories, or practical applications. Let us think of it as a building, no, a jigsaw puzzle. Each piece you add uh, helps, no, complete the picture and gives you a better understanding of what it represents, no. So parang ganon, no, yung contribution to knowledge and research, no. It's about adding new pieces to our understanding of our particular subject, no. So in research, contribution to knowledge daw means that the study provides something new, no, and valuable to the existing body of knowledge. It could be a new information, a new perspective, or a new theory that helps, no, explain a phenomenon. For example, no, let us imagine the researchers are studying the behavior of a birds. The research might uncover, no, new patterns in bird migrations or discover a new species of birds previously unknown to science, no? These findings contribute to our knowledge of birds and help expand our understanding of their behavior and ecology. So, contribution to knowledge is very important, no? Because it helps us, no, to advance our understanding of the world around us. It fills gaps, no? It fills the gaps in our knowledge, challenges existing theories, and provides a foundations for further research and discoveries. Okay, our next topic is to describe the difference between research and problem solving. So, Research and problem solving are two different approaches, no, to finding solutions, and they have distinct characteristics, no. Research is like exploring and learning new things. It's about finding out more about a topic or area that has not been fully understood before. So the researchers gather information, analyze data, and conduct experiments to discover new knowledge and expand our understanding of the world. While problem solving naman, on the other hand, is about finding solution to specific problem or challenges, no? It's like when you encounter a problem in your daily life and try to figure out the best way to solve it. Problem solving involves identifying the problem, analyzing the causes, and coming up with strategies or action to address it. So, the main difference is that research is focused, no, on gaining knowledge and understanding, while yung problem solving is focused on finding practical solutions to problems. However, no, research can also be a part of problem solving. No? When trying to solve a problem, researchers may gather information, analyze data, or conduct experiment to find the best solutions. Research findings can provide valuable insights and evidence that help in solving the problem. Okay, let us now proceed to the last topic for these sessions, which is the kinds and classifications of research. So, based on purpose, we have basic research. No? Basic research is conducted to expand knowledge and understanding of a particular subject without any immediate practical applications. Okay. So basic research is like exploring something just for the sake of curiosity and learning. It's about trying to understand how things work and discovering new information without thinking about how it can be used right away. Let's say, for example, no, you're a scientist and you're really interested in how birds fly. So you might spend time observing different bird species, studying their wings, and trying to understand the physics behind their flight. So this kind of research doesn't have an immediate goal of making a new airplane or solving a specific problem. It is more about gaining knowledge and answering questions just because you are curious. No? So basic research is important because it lays the foundations for future discoveries and practical applications. Even though the immediate benefits may not be obvious, the knowledge gains, the knowledge gained from basic research can lead to breakthrough and advancement in various fields over time. So, in simplest term, basic research is like exploring and learning about something just because we are curious, no? Without thinking about how it can be used right away, no? It is about building knowledge that can be useful in the future. Next is yung tinatawag natin applied research. When we say applied research, it is conducted to solve a specific problem naman or address practical issues. It has direct relevance to real-world applications. No? So ano naman ang ibig sabihin ng applied research? It is all about finding solutions naman to real-world problems or addressing practical issues, no? Kabaliktaran naman to ng basic research, no? It focuses on taking what we already know and using it to solve specific problems or make improvements in the real world. Imagine, no? You have a problem like leaky faucet in your kitchen, no? So you could conduct applied research by looking into different methods or products to fix the leak, no? Para magawan mo ng lunas yung tumutulo doon sa kusina ninyo, yung tumutulong gripo. So you would explore practical solutions that can be directly applied to solve the problem you are facing. So, applied research is different from basic research, no? Because it is more focused on finding practical solutions rather than just gaining new knowledge. It is like using what we already know to make things better or solve specific problems that people are experiencing. For example, no, the researchers in the medical field might conduct applied research to find new treatment for a specific disease. No? So they would study existing knowledge, conduct experiments, and develop interventions that can directly help the patients and improve their health. So the goal of applied research is to have a direct impact on the real world, no? Kasi it aims to find solutions, develop new technologies, or improve existing practices that can be used in everyday life, no? Another one is exploratory research, no? It is conducted to explore a new area or phenomena and gain preliminary insights or understanding. Uh, Exploratory research is like going on an adventure to explore and learn about something new. It's about investigating a topic or phenomenon that has not been studied much before. Imagine, no? You're going on a treasure hunt in a mysterious land, no? You are excited to discover what's there and gather clues along the way. That's what exploratory research is all about, no? Going on a journey of discovery, no? In exploratory research, the researcher wants to learn more about that a topic that has not been fully explored. They use different methods like interviews, observations, or reading existing informations to gather informations and get initial insights. Uh, the goal of exploratory research is to find out uh, what's out there and get a basic understanding of the topic, no? Just like exploring a new area on a map and trying to figure out what you might find, no? For example, if the researchers want to understand how people use social media and its impact on their on their well-being, no? They might start with exploratory research. They would talk to people, observe their behavior, and gather information to get an idea of how social media affects their lives. So, exploratory research helps the researchers generate new ideas, identify the patterns, and come up with questions for further research, no? It is an important first step, no, to understand a topic better before diving deeper into a more detailed studies. Next is descriptive research, no? It is a type of research conducted to describe the characteristics of behavior of a populations or phenomenon. Uh, it aims, no, to provide a detailed and accurate account of the subject under study. Descriptive research is like taking a close look at something to understand it better. It is about describing the characteristic or behavior of a group of people or a particular topic. Imagine, no? You have a camera and you want to take a picture of a beautiful landscape. So you would focus on capturing all the details and features of the landscape, like the mountains, the trees, and colors, no? So it is that's what descriptive research does, no? It captures all the important informations about a specific group or topic, no? So in descriptive research, the researchers gather informations to create a clear and accurate picture of what they are studying. They might use surveys then, interviews, or observations to collect data. So by doing this, so they can understand, no, the specific characteristic, behavior, or patterns within that group or topic. Another example, no, if the researchers want to understand yung shopping habits of young adults, so they would gather informations about what they buy, how often they shop, and where they prepare to shop. This helps to create a detailed and accurate descriptions of their shopping behaviors. So descriptive research provides important information, no, to help us understand and describe different group or topics more fully. No, nakakatulong ito sa researchers and decision makers make informed decisions, develop policies, or plan for the future. Okay, now, based on methodology naman, we have quantitative research, no? It involves the collection and analysis of numerical data using statistical methods. It is a systematic approach to research that aims to measure and quantify variables, establish relationship between variables, and draw objective conclusions based on empirical evidence. Uh, in other words, quantitative research is a way of doing research that focuses on numbers. No, it involves collecting information in a structured way, like through surveys or experiments, and then analyzing those numbers using math. No, the goal of quantitative research is to find pattern and relationship between different things. For example po, researchers might want to know if there is a connection between how much people exercise and their overall health. No? They would collect data from a large group of people, asking them questions about their exercise habits, and measuring their health in some way. So by looking at the numbers and using math, they can see if there is a relationship between exercise and health. So quantitative research is systematic and aims to be objective, meaning it tries to be fair and unbiased in its findings. No, it uses statistical methods to make sure the conclusion drawn from the numbers are reliable. So this type of research is used in many fields like psychology, sociology, economics, to study large group of peoples and draw conclusions that can apply to bigger populations. Next is qualitative research. It involves naman the collections and analysis of non-numerical data. Yung kanina, numbers no, no? Yung quantitative. Itong qualitative naman, uh, it analyzes non-numerical data such as interviews or observations or textual analysis. Uh, Qualitative research is a way of doing research that focuses naman on words, stories, and observations instead of numbers. No? It involves talking to people, watching their behaviors, or analyzing texts to understand their experience and perspective. In qualitative research, the researchers have conversations, no, with individual or groups to learn about their thoughts, feelings, and experiences. They may also observe people in their natural setting or analyze written materials like books or interviews. No? The goal of qualitative research is to gain, no, a deep understanding of what people think, feel, and do in different situations. It's like getting inside their minds and seeing the world from their point of view. So, the researchers collect a lot of informations and look for patterns or themes that emerge from the data. They pay attention to the details, the context, and the meanings behind people, words, or actions. No? Qualitative research is used, no, in fields like sociology, then psychology, or anthropology to study human behavior, culture, or society. No, it helps researchers understand, no, the complexities of human experiences and generate new ideas or theories. Next is yung mixed methods research. It refers to a research approach that combines both numbers and stories to understand a particular topic or problem. So, mixed method research is a way of doing research naman that combine both numbers and stories. It is like using two different tools to understand a topic or a problem. No, in this approach, the researchers collect two kinds of informations, no, the numerical data and the non-numerical data. So numerical data involves things that can be measured or counted, like survey responses or test scores. When you say the numerical data naman, it includes things like stories, interviews, or observations that give a deeper understanding of people's thoughts, feelings, or experiences. So, by using both types of data, researchers can get a more complete and detailed understanding of the topic they are studying. The numbers help show patterns and trends, while the stories naman provide personal insight and perspective. For example, no, imagine a researcher wants to understand people's opinion about a new product. So, ano gagawin nila? They might start collecting survey responses to get an overall idea of what people think. But they also want to know why people feel that way. So they conduct interviews to hear individual stories and experiences. So by combining the survey results, yung numbers, and the stories, the researcher can paint, no, a more complete picture of people's opinion and understand the reason behind them. So mixed methods research allow, no, researchers to look at a topic from different angles and get a deeper understanding. It is like using both a microscope and telescope to explore something. So you get a closer look and get a broader perspective at the same time. Okay? Okay now. Based on time horizon naman, we have cross-sectional research, no? It involves collecting data at a specific point in time to study a population or phenomenon. Cross-sectional research involves collecting data from a group of individuals or entities at a specific point in time. The goal is to gain insights into the characteristics, behavior, attitudes of that group at that particular moment. Okay. In cross-sectional research, the researcher selects a sample from the population of interest. This sample represents the larger populations, and the data is collected from this sample at a single time. No? The researcher collects information through surveys, interview, observations, or other data collection methods. Then, the collected data is analyzed to identify patterns, yung trends, yung associations within the groups. The researchers may examine the relationship between the variables, such as yung age, gender, the income or educational level, and outcome of interest. One key aspect to remember about cross-sectional research is that it provides a snapshot of the population at a specific moment. It does not involve following individuals or entities over time. Therefore, it cannot establish connection or determine the direction of relationship between variables. Another kind of research based on time horizon is what we call longitudinal research. It involves collecting data over an extended period to study change or trends in population or phenomenon. So in other words, instead of just looking at a single point in time, in longitudinal research, the researchers gather data at multiple time points, to observe how things change over time. For example, let's say the researchers want to study the academic performance of students from kindergarten to high school. So they would collect data and other relevant factors at different times intervals, throughout their educational journey. By doing so, they can track the changes in academic performance over the years, and they can identify any trends or patterns that emerge. Longitudinal research allow researchers to observe and analyze the development, behavior, or outcomes of a group or individual over an extended period. So it helps in understanding how factors like age, environment, or intervention impact the subject of study. Okay, next. Based on scope naman, we have exploratory research. So this type of research is like going on adventure to explore and learn about something new. It's like when you're curious about a topic and want to gather initial insight and understanding. Researchers use methods like interviews or observations to get a sense of what's happening and generate ideas for further research. Next is yung descriptive research. Na-discuss natin kanina, is all about describing naman and summarizing things. It's like taking a snapshot or painting a picture of a group of people or particular situations. The researchers collect data through surveys of observation to tell us about the characters of behaviors of the people or the phenomenon being studied. The last one is explanatory research. It's like, naman, di ba? Investigating how things are connected and why this happened. Uh, it is about finding answer to questions like, why does things happen or what causes this? Researchers use experiments or statistical analysis to figure out the relationship between different factors and determine what causes certain outcomes to happen. So, in a nutshell, exploratory research help us explore new ideas. Descriptive research give us a clear picture of what's happening, And explanatory research help us understand why things happen the way they do.